Welcome back and welcome to your life coaching moment for this month. At the beginning of a new year, I really want to wish you well. And I really want to wish you everything of the best for this year. And may you find your place in the symphony of balance in your life. And may you make music that inspires and really influences the people around you. But most of all, may you make music that inspires and influences you. Remember last year we closed off with a session called Symphony of Balance, and I spoke about this concept of having a balanced life where everything is perfectly balanced and we set goals in different areas and we want to reach the highest point in every single area in our life and have this balanced wheel that's completely round and that flows properly. And then I said to you that that's not really the way we think. The way we think is much in terms of an orchestra making music where there's a symphony of balance. In other words, some instruments play a more significant role. Some instruments are louder and more active than others. But every single instrument plays a part in creating that symphony of balance. In the next 6 months, we are going to be looking at 6 different areas of our life. And we're going to be going through those different areas. And I want you to think of your own life as we go through these different areas. I want you to relate that area back to your own life. And I want you to determine where you're going to place more emphasis, where you're going to need to work a little bit harder, and where you're going to just maintain some of those areas, and you'll figure it out as we go along. But the idea is that you create a symphony of balance in your life. And as we're starting this year, the first area that we're going to be looking at or focusing on is probably the most important area of your life, and that's the area of health. And when we think about the area of health, and the reason why I've put this one first, and I'm also saying that it's the most important one, because if you don't get this one right, guys, then it negatively affects every other area of your life. So as we start this new year, I want you to pay special attention to this area of your symphony. And so in this area, we're going to put a lot more emphasis, because the results from your efficiency in this area are going to really determine the outcome in all the other areas. And when we talk about health, there's 3 areas that I've broken health up into. And I want you to look at these 3 areas, and I want you to look at your own life and do the assessment for yourself. Look at where you need to be focusing a little bit of attention, or a little bit more attention, or where you need to be focusing a lot of attention on, and where you need to be making some changes. So first of all, think back on last year. Think back on what you achieved last year. Think back on your health last year. How was your health last year? Did you have a good year? Were you healthy? Or did you neglect your health a little bit? Or was your health a bit of an issue for you during last year? And as we look at these 3 areas, these 3 areas are focus areas that will help you get your health on track and get your health into a position where you can really be a lot more effective in life. The first area is the area of nutrition. Now, when it comes to nutrition, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not going to give you advice on what you should and shouldn't eat. But what I am going to say to you is that you need to assess yourself. Assess the stuff you're putting into your body, the stuff you're putting into your system, and you need to evaluate whether what you're putting into your system is doing you good, or if it's harming you. And when we think about nutrition, the first thing I want to warn you about is just try and lay off the sugars. Try and cut down on the sugars, and especially your glutens and those kind of things. Try and just cut down on them as much as possible. And you don't have to cut them all out at once. You don't have to stop taking sugar tomorrow, but just start cutting it out slowly but surely. I looked at in my own life. I looked at my sugar intake and I noticed that I was taking in a lot of sugar. We have a lot of meetings. And you know, I'm a coach, so I would be meeting clients all the time, sometimes 7, 8 meetings a day. And each time I have a meeting with a client, it's 2 cups of coffee or 2 cups of tea or whatever it is that we have during the meeting, or soft drink. And when I started to assess the amount of sugar that I was taking in a day, it was frightening. And slowly but surely, I just started cutting down to 1 spoon, to half a spoon, to nothing. And I must say, I've kind of almost eliminated sugar from my diet completely. And the difference it's made for me in my life, unbelievable. So that's one area that I want you to look at, is trying to cut out the sugar, and then of course the glutens as well, stuff that's not good for you. I don't want to encourage you to go on a vegetarian diet or any of those kind of things, or a carnivore diet. I don't want to encourage you to do any of that stuff. I want you to assess yourself, to look at your own body, maybe your blood group, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I listen to my body. When I eat something, I can feel in my body whether this is good for me or if it's not good for me. I know when I look at my emotions in the morning when I wake up, and my energy levels in the morning when I wake up, I know that it has a direct correlation to what I ate the day before. And so I'm trying to eliminate certain things and eat more of certain things, and try also the times that I'm eating, and looking at the different kinds of nutritional foods that I'm taking in, and the results that they have on my energy levels, on my ability to sleep and to rest and to rejuvenate and re-energize and also focus. I've also noticed that if there are certain things that I eat or drink, that it affects my ability to think clearly. You've all heard of brain fog and that kind of stuff. And I know that when I don't look after the stuff I'm putting into my body, it affects my efficiency in terms of thinking, problem solving, being on my toes, being able to operate at an optimal level. And when we talk about nutrition also, I want to just add one more thing there, water. Try and take in a lot more water. Try and look at the amount of fluids that you're taking in during the day, and what kind of fluids are the fluids hydrating or dehydrating you. Remember, your brain needs water to be able to function optimally. So look at that. So nutrition is one area that I want you to look at in terms of your health. The next area is movement. And the reason I've put movement in and not exercise, because I'm not saying you need to start going to gym and you need to start doing aerobics and Pilates and yoga and all that kind of stuff, or running or doing marathon or jogging. I'm not saying that. You figure out what works for you. You listen to your body, and you figure out how you can increase your movement during the day. I do a lot of walking. I walk between 5 and 10 kilometers every single day. And I find that just that movement gets the blood flowing properly. It gets my body moving, stretching, and muscles and all those kind of things, joints, and it helps. And for me, that works. I go try and get to the gym about 3 times a week, just to do a little bit of some form of cardio. And I don't push. I'm not one of those guys that's overly health fanatic or fitness fanatic or any of those kind of things. But I am doing something. I'm listening to my body, and I'm trying to get myself into a position where I'm a lot more active, because those activities help stimulate you. They stimulate your brain to produce hormones and chemicals and all kinds of things that help. So movement is very important, guys, especially for those of you, and I'm one of them, who's in front of the computer a lot, who does a lot of online. I do a lot of online meetings where I sit still, and sometimes I could spend almost the whole day in front of this computer in meetings and in coaching sessions and training sessions. So I have to put a concerted effort in to moving a lot more and getting my body to move a lot more. And then the last one, the third one, is mindset. Now, when we think about health, we very seldom have a specific focus on mindset. And when I say mindset, I'm talking about what you're thinking, the thoughts that you're thinking, the emotions that you're experiencing during the day, the emotions that most of the time are caused by the thoughts that you're thinking. So I want to challenge you this month, and not only this month, but for the rest of the year, to really look at your nutrition, to assess the stuff you're putting into your body through your mouth. Then I want you to look at the way you're treating your body, this physical temple of yours, in terms of movement and exercise and getting yourself out there and being active. And then mindset. I want you to really pay a lot of attention on the stuff you're putting in here, into your ears, and the stuff that's formulating your thoughts. And when I say ears, I mean your senses, your ears and your eyes. So the stuff you see, the stuff you hear, the stuff that influences your mindset. Try and get to a point where you are taking in positive stuff, where you're listening to positive stuff, where you're doing stuff that's creating positive and optimistic thoughts within your mind, so that you have a hope for a better tomorrow. Don't fill yourself up with negative stuff all the time, negative emotions, negative feelings, because it has such an outworking on your physical body as well. When I think about thoughts, there's certain thoughts and certain mindsets that create or that trigger your brain to release certain chemicals. So the way you're thinking, if you're thinking depressive thoughts and fearful thoughts, and you're worrying constantly, and anxiety, you're filled with anxiety and all those kind of thoughts, those thoughts kind of, they snowball. The one feeds on the next, and it feeds on the next. And when you look again, it puts you into such a negative space, and a depressive space, and a dark space. And you know what happened? Your brain releases chemicals because it wants to try and get you out of that. So it will release chemicals that produce that force you to either fight or react or run away. The fight, flight, freeze concept. And those chemicals that your brain releases, and the hormones that your brain releases, if that happens in excess all the time, constantly, negative, downward stuff, downward spiraling stuff, it plays out on your health. It causes stuff like tumors and cancers, and all kinds of stuff goes wrong because of the chemicals that your brain releases. And it's physically proven, in fact, mentally or medically proven, that the positive thinking, the positive mindset, attitudes and thoughts and emotions stimulate chemicals that help you, they energize you, they boost your immune system, even those positive things. So when we look at our health, guys, what you put into your body through your mouth, what you eat and what you drink, and what you put in through your eyes and your ears, the stuff that influences you from that side, very, very, very important. Take charge of your health this year. Take control of your health this year. Make up your mind right now that you're going to be aware, and you're going to be like a security guard, and you're going to stand watch over the stuff that comes in, and you're going to vet that stuff. And you're going to make sure that what you put into your life this year, what you put into your body this year, is going to influence your health in a positive way. Guys, all the best for the year. May you have a prosperous year. May you really grow this year in every area of your life, and most especially in the area of your health.